Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Rule 34 podcast. I'm your host, Jack, joined by my fellow co-hosts.
Nova Turian, hashtag 9912.
Alright, so, been a while since we recorded. We were supposed to record last week, but, before we open up with how we're doing, Dom, you mind telling the people the story of what happened last week?
Okay, so last week we were supposed to record a podcast at 12, right? Just like normal, right? It's a normal Friday. I was supposed to, lay back and chill because it was supposed to be my day off of work, right? But then I received a call from my manager, and what she tells me was one of the most scariest things of my life, and it was to come to work early. I'm like, okay. She didn't give me the reason, though. That's the thing. She told me to come early, but didn't give me the reason. And so, I had to, unfortunately, postpone the podcast, and I had to go walk out to go to work early that Friday.
And like you said, postpone, because when he told me, we were like, oh, we'll probably just record later in the day then when he gets back.
Yeah. And this is why I couldn't do it later on in the day, because the minute I walked into the doors, I was given a task, and it's related to, what we normally do. But it was not any other task. It was a task for 70 pizzas. 70 pizzas from one guy, from one person. I'm assuming this was a party. But they wanted these pizzas done in under an hour.
In under an hour?
In under an hour, because the order came out around 12:30, around there, and I had to go to work around that time. And so I was called early, of course, to come and help out. And it was just two people. It was the manager herself, and it was just me.
Oh my God.
And so in under that hour, I had to bust myself off on this. And it was nonstop, Jack. Oh my God! During that hour, dude, I played some. I played some "Push It to the Limit," from Scarface. Mm-hmm. And we just started. We just started making the pizzas like mad, dude. Like one after another, just putting the toppings. Oh, it was nonstop.
Was it just one type of pizza, or did they ask for like multiple toppings?
It was like different toppings for some pizzas. Like one pizza was like all pepperoni, and another was all cheese, like pepperoni and jalapenos. There was different combinations for some of the pizzas, but there were regular like large pizzas without like crazy different toppings or like complicated toppings. So it was fairly easy to make the pizzas, but to quickly like dish them out of the oven was. Oof. Yeah. We quickly burned through all of our pizza boxes that day, dude, and we made around like $600 just off of that one order alone. And oh my God, the guy came right, and he didn't even tip.
Yeah, I think that's the worst part.
He paid. He said thank you, and he just left with the pizzas.
What type of car did he have?
Car. It was an SUV. So he just threw the pizzas in the back.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wonder how is he gonna fit 70 pizzas in a car, but that makes sense. But yeah, I think that's the worst part of all this, as we explained it, Dom, was the man didn't even tip.
Exactly, he didn't even tip. Like we just suffered through all of that, and he just left as if nothing ever happened. Yeah. We just didn't suffer for just for his enjoyment.
Yeah, don't you wish things were like in other countries where they don't even let you try and tip just because they actually pay their workers?
Exactly. That's scary.
Like that's the reason why, how like so many people say, why should I have to tip when we're like in the U.S.? And it's because of the fact that the tips go directly to the employees and they need that money. Because why? Because they're not getting paid enough.
Exactly.
Isn't there like a thing that showed like just how much of like a percentage like certain workers like make most of their money off of tips instead of their hourly pay?
Yep.
Yeah, so imagine that, being called in on your day off to make 70 pizzas within an hour and not even getting a tip.
But yeah, I mean, after that, I think they just went to like a regular, like normal, like pace of people coming in. I mean, even during like that whole hour, like some people came in like to order, like aside from that, 70 pizza order.
Gosh,
we just quickly made those, like nothing. But we're still in the process of making those 70 pizzas. But I mean, other than that, it was fine.
What would you have done if the person who ordered the 70 pizzas turned out to be the guy who ordered barbecue ribs?
Oh man, I wouldn't be the one that took his shoot. I could tell you that for sure.
Oh my god!
I think I'd let my manager handle that.
But so going back to usual, how you been, mate? Otherwise, other than that terrible Friday last week.
I mean, this Thursday was terrible as well.
Oh really?
It wasn't as bad as those 70 pizzas, but it was just me and another coworker. We were just at a regular pace. We were cleaning it right until like around 8 to like 8:30. We just got a bunch of orders coming in, dude. And like the same guy orders a huge order, and he orders another big order along with that. Like 10 minutes later, like extra large pizzas with like a bunch of wings and like salads as well, like brownies and cookies. And we didn't start cleaning until like 10 o'clock, which is the exact time we closed.
Dang.
So we left at around 11 o'clock. Just after cleaning everything and all that stuff. But I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is. So, I've also been pretty good. Similar to you, Thursday yesterday just wasn't as good of a day for me.
Yeah, like that.
If you would allow me to go into a bit of a rant. So,
go ahead, go.
If you remember, like a couple episodes back, you remember how I told you about how last year, during a pandemic, the WWE had let go of like a bunch of their employees, right?
Right.
And I specifically mentioned, it bugged me, but like as of right now, I don't let it bug me that much because yes, it was a crappy thing to do, but all the people for the most part found work afterwards, right?
Right.
Well, on the literal 1 year anniversary since that day, they decided to release more people.
Oh,
literally,
wow.
Everyone was posting like, "Oh, it's been a year since it happened," but like we're thankful for all these people like finding jobs, similar to what I had said. And then like a couple hours later, you just see they announced the releases of about like 9 people, and like supposedly we're supposed to expect more in like the coming days, like today.
Well, what's the reason though?
So get this. They just had one of their most profitable years ever, right?
Right.
They just sold, because the WWE, they had what was called this WWE Network, right? Which was their entire catalog of footage and stuff, from footage of other companies that they've either worked with or acquired, their library of footage,
Right.
And also putting on, like, the new stuff that they put on,
Right.
And that's where you would go to watch pay-per-views, all paying about $9.99 a month for it. They sold off that network to Peacock for $1 billion.
Oh.
They did all this, and apparently the talents have come out that have been released recently have come out and stated that the reason they were given for being released was budget cuts.
Really?
They were told that they were needed to be released because of budget cuts and budget issues. Now, granted, for the most part, not even for the most part, like, only like maybe half of the people released yesterday, they didn't have much they were doing. But,
Right.
like, the other half were at least still being on TV. It was just a thing of they didn't know what to do with them, Which is kind of dumb, because at that point, it's like, one of the former wrestlers that got released said, what's it called? If you have all this talent and you can't find anything to do with them, I think that means you should start hiring new writers or a new creative team rather than releasing all these talented people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sparked a whole outrage yesterday because there were some pretty notable names that had gotten released, and so everyone was just like going crazy because not only was it that they got released, but like, dude, it's the 1 year anniversary of their biggest release from like last year.
Right.
Like, and then like to make matters worse, like they just continued on like as if nothing happened. Like they continued like posting stuff, and like clearly, if you checked like all the comments and replies, it was just like, why do you have the audacity to continue on like you didn't just like release these people like it was nothing.
Right.
Like, and here's my thing. I already like have thought about it, like these people are talented enough; they're gonna find big money jobs elsewhere. But like that's not the issue. It's the issue of citing things like budget cuts after your most profitable year and making $1 billion deal and stuff, and telling these people that you have to get rid of them because you want to budget the money.
Right.
Like it was just so annoying to see yesterday. Like I didn't see not one person like not angry or disappointed with it. Even a lot of the wrestlers themselves were like posting and saying like in disagreement of it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I think what's gonna suck is that they're just gonna let this go, right?
Yeah, that's what happened last year.
Like they're just gonna completely forget about it, and no one's gonna care.
Yeah, that's what happened last year.
Okay, how about this? Listen, like, what if every single like popular wrestler were just to simply quit, leave the WWE? What would happen then?
I think it depends on the caliber of a wrestler. Because some wrestlers have straight up said they're not going to work. Like, this is in the past. They've said they straight up not going to work and have just sat out their contract at home instead of coming into work because that's how much they hated working there.
Right.
Like, the biggest example I could give you was there was a wrestler for WWE known as Pac.
Uh-huh.
And he literally just sat at home for almost like an entire year or so until they granted him his release. There was another group, a tag team known as the Revival. They had made it known that they wanted to be released almost a year in advance, and they didn't get it until last year around March.
Right.
So, like, for some of them, the WWE would probably just simply like not release them. If it was especially like their like higher ups, they'd probably find a way to get them to work, like try to sue them for like violation of contract, But like a lot of the other like wrestlers, they're already pretty much doing it because they literally this is the sad thing, they have a huge locker room, right? And what happens, most of these guys show up at the show just to sit in catering because the creative team has nothing for them. They don't get TV time. All their ideas that they try and pitch get shut down, so it's like they just show up, sit there to get a free dinner, and that's about it.
Really?
But I can already tell you, there's one specific name that they released, and if the guy can get healthy, they're going to regret it so much.
Who's that?
Samoa Joe is the guy's name, and he's big money. I'm gonna tell you that.
Samoa Joe.
He's a bit older, which is why I said if injuries don't come into play like they kind of did towards the end of his tenure in the WWE,
right?
Then, because I already know, like, there's already like companies already reaching out to him trying to get it. But the thing is, they got released, and here's the worst part too: they got released, and they gotta wait 90 days before they can go compete anywhere else because it's a part of the contract.
90 days.
You get a 90-day no-compete clause, so they have to wait till almost like July just to work somewhere else.
Yeah. Oh. Okay.
But yeah, that whole case yesterday, it wasn't a pretty scene. Like, it really was, especially like they were coming off of WrestleMania, and like, this whole thing of like trying to put themselves in a positive light of like, oh, we want to thank all the fans. We're putting the show on for you all and stuff. They featured like two of the talents on that card. Samoa Joe, because of his injuries, he wasn't cleared to wrestle yet, so he was on commentary. But he was
Right.
out there commentating, and one of the other wrestlers had competed in a match on one of the nights of WrestleMania, and yet here they are a couple days later getting released.
Right.
So it wasn't like a, from a PR standpoint, it was probably the worst they could have done.
Jeez.
Yeah. But it is what it is. Like I said, I at least know for a fact that most, if not all of them, will find a home somewhere else in the wrestling promotion business.
Yeah. I mean, as long as they're able to like expand their talents and maybe even open up to like different ventures to like hopefully get back into business,
Mm-hmm.
it should be fine. I mean, they don't have to be like, they don't need that, how do you call it, like that lifting hand, that upper hand given by the WWE just to how do you call it, send their talents onto the big screen, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like that's the only thing I'm happy about, like the current state of wrestling, is there's just so much of it that these guys can find work anywhere else. For like early times, it was like there wasn't that many like big promotions, and like the smaller promotions known as the indies for the most part, other than a couple other companies, it was like you'd be lucky when working for some of those companies to even like get enough to get to like the next show.
Yeah.
But like now, it's like there's so many promotions, not only in the U.S. but outside, that so many of these people could find work at.
Right. True.
Like it's already being like, and that's like the cool thing too, is like when they got released, it was already being speculated that all these companies were having interest in them like right away.
Right.
So it already just goes to show they're gonna be just fine. But that still shouldn't excuse that like that type of business from the WWE. Like, obviously, I'm not saying you can't release people, but like, you know, last year when the pandemic happened, and it wouldn't be guaranteed that a lot of these people could find, you know, jobs in the wrestling business, that was terrible. And it's only terrible now because of A, the level of talent you release, because so many of the people they released, it was like, these are people you need, why are you releasing them?
Right.
And then 2, of course, you know, like I said, after what you just pulled over the weekend and like giving the fans all this, like this is like what you follow up with. Like, instead of following up a high with trying to continue the trend of high, you immediately follow it up with a super low.
Right.
And not only that, that's probably going to demoralize a lot of the talent in the locker room. Because like I said, so many of them were upset about what just happened.
Right. Jeez.
But life moves on, huh?
Yeah, that's true.
Speaking of the wrestling business, as we'll probably see with a lot of these talents leaving, is they'll soon probably be asked to do interviews and stuff. And a term in the wrestling business is shoot interview. And by shoot, it means you going off and saying essentially whatever you want. Like you know how they do like promos in wrestling, right?
Right.
Those are usually scripted or like written by the wrestlers themselves and then checked upon by management. But a shoot promo is when they just go out and say whatever they want, with essentially without regards for the consequences. Similar to like the shoot interview, since they're gone from the company, they can just say what they want without consequences, right?
Right.
So I proposed a topic to you, and I essentially want to do that style of interview here, in the sense that let's talk about school in essentially a shoot interview type way.
Right.
Like, don't worry about what other people are gonna try and tell us. Let's just go out here on this episode. We got about 25 minutes left. Let's voice a lot of our, how would you say, our I'm a lost for words, but basically our gripes with the school system, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So first off, let's just be honest. How have we been enjoying our first year of college?
It sucks. It just sucks. I think ever since we moved on to the, everything is online, everything's on computer through Zoom, Zoom University, however they say it. I think for me, my experience has just been awful. Starting off my first semester back in 2020 during the fall, it didn't feel right. It felt literally the exact same as when we did back when we were in high school. Well, like when we did like a regular Zoom class for an hour. Mm-hmm. Literally nothing new felt different. I never got that college experience. I never got to meet new people. I haven't made a single friend, which I don't know if that says something. I think that does say something. But
I've yet to show my face in these online classes.
I've only showed my face 3 times, and that was because we were forced, or else our grade would be potentially altered or just lowered down just because we didn't want to show a face. Yeah. Which I kind of felt like that was kind of messed up. Yeah. It sucks, having to go through all this stuff. It just doesn't feel right, Mm-hmm. I feel like even though we were to go in person, yes, our homework would still be online and stuff like that. But just showing face in person and having to communicate, you're forced to sort of like that. Once you show face in class, I feel like that's just more better. Because how do you say this? You become more engaging, I guess, or you're kind of forced to engage. But over time, you start to get used to it, and you expand your social aspect, your social connections with other people, with teachers, with new friends, and all that stuff. But none of this has been at all possible. I mean, it's been possible, yes, but I don't think anyone goes out of their way to try to meet new people over Zoom, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's some people, yes. I'm not gonna lie. There are some people who probably make good friends over, Zoom University, or maybe hit each other up on Discord and maybe play a few games of Warzone or whatever. But I think the majority of the students didn't have that same experience, especially for those who are from different nationalities, like international students who have different languages to deal with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, or different time zones to deal with.
Exactly. Oh, that's even worse. I'm pretty sure I've heard some students have to wake up at 3 a.m. for their first class.
Yeah,
I would not be able to survive that, dude.
Yeah.
And having to go through the rest of their morning, and then having a bad day, a shitty day afterwards. And then those same students also have said that they have work to do as well.
Yeah.
I can't imagine waking up at 3 a.m. just for a class that everyone else is having a fine and dandy day because it's a regular 8 a.m. for them.
Yeah.
Because UC Berkeley's in California, and they follow the 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, while everyone else has to suffer.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks. It sucks. And not only that, but I think what's even worse is the bad organization. Some of the professors I've been dealing with, sometimes they put their homeworks on Piazza, which is a separate a student message board center where they place their homeworks there. Other times they might put it under the assignments tab in the Canvas. Other times they might have it through a discussion board on Canvas. Something they have it on a completely different website. For example, my data science class, I had to submit my my homework over a completely different website. I had to log in and code what I have to code. Oh my god, it wasn't a pleasant time. Not only that, but when I was hired, for the job during October, November, it only increased that responsibilities that I had to deal with.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a good thing. I'll be honest. Not only that, I kind of feel bad about myself in terms of the fact that I even made it to Berkeley. Considering, I'll be honest, I got low grades on the SAT and ACT. On the SAT, I got what, like an 1160, 1190. At the ACT, I got like a 25. I think that was my highest ever. And I'm even surprised I even made it to UC Berkeley. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think they just chose me just so they could expand, the name UC Berkeley into being a more diverse school.
I'll feel you on that one, especially because, I mean, we both discussed it. For the most part, these schools just accept different minority groups to fulfill that requirement. But then, how many do they retain?
That's the point. Yeah, exactly. How many students stay after a year, after 2 years, after 3 years, or even just graduate? Like they're 4 years bachelors.
Yeah, like that. Like literally, the number of students they take in that are minorities compared to the amount of minorities that make it through. It's drastically different, and why? Because how many times have we heard, "Oh, there's support systems in colleges for like to help students through stuff"? I haven't seen a single one.
Exactly.
And even if I see them, like they tell you the same generic stuff that they'd probably tell any student. It's not like they're specifically helping the minority causes. And they like literally in one of my classes, we were talking about how because it's an art history class, right?
Right.
They were talking about like, would you as a person of color feel comfortable with like a white person judging your artwork, right? And one of the students was saying like no, because they wouldn't understand like the context or like the background of where like the piece is coming from.
Right.
And it's like similar to like the situations for minorities in college. So many people don't try and understand the different situations that minorities are coming from, and that are how would you say they don't try and accommodate for you, you know? Like you mentioned the thing about having cameras on, or even some telling you to have your mics on at all time.
Right.
It's like they don't understand that not everyone has their own room that they can sit in for hours upon a day in front of a computer screen, a phone screen, whatever, to learn and have the comfortability of knowing they can keep their camera on or mic unmuted whenever without the worry of what's happening in the background.
Exactly.
I know you and I can definitely attest that, where especially because we've both heard it, especially also with our other friends. Whenever we're playing, you don't know what's going to be said in the background, what's going to be seen in the background. So the fact that they don't want to accommodate for stuff like that, like that's just the little things,
Yeah.
The fact that there's no accommodation for that just shows that they don't even truly understand they don't truly understand a lot of the things that plague minorities when they're trying to go to college.
Yeah.
Like, our counselor in high school said it best. When you're doing school from home, the biggest issue is always going to be your family thinking you're constantly available when you're not.
Exactly.
Like, throughout this entire year, I've had to essentially give my family a whole schedule to let them know these are the times I'm in class, these are the times I'm out of class, but there's no guarantee that the times I'm out of class are gonna have me available for something to do.
Right. True.
So it's like, if we're being honest here, again, like shoot interview style, a lot of these universities, they're just accepting minorities for the good PR. They want to be able to promote that they're such a diverse school with all these different groups.
Exactly.
But you're only doing it to have a good face.
Right.
Because, like we said, show the ugly side, and the ugly side is how many of those minorities are you retaining each and every year. And honestly, I think that shows why you're accepting so many minorities year in, year out, because so many are leaving instead of staying when you're bringing in all of them.
Yeah. I think it's like they only care about how many students come in, but they don't care how many leave.
Yeah.
Because it's like...
What do they care?
They're
getting money regardless. They don't, like, seriously, that's the thing with college and university. You're just a number. They don't care if you stay or not. they got your money regardless. It doesn't matter if you stayed a quarter, a semester, a year, 2 years. It doesn't matter as long as they're getting money out of you.
True.
And especially if they hit you with loans or like some type of debt, they're gonna continue getting money from you even after you leave.
True.
So it's like, what? Like, we don't matter to them.
You got a point. I mean, it's also how you brought up the aspect with money as well. These schools like hit you with crazy tuition bills of like what, 30 grand, 40 grand.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand where a single dollar is coming out of a pocket into them. Like they for UC Berkeley, they give you like an entire list of where your money goes specifically and how much money is given.
Mm-hmm.
But all these are like small little programs that I will never care about.
Yeah, I have the same. Like, I could show you that whenever it's called the Bruin bill comes out,
right,
there's like all these little small charges that end up adding up, and I'm just like, what are these for? I've never used these. I'm never a part of these. Why? What is this for?
Exactly. Like, for example, for Berkeley, they charged me like around like $500 to $1,000 for transportation, right? Like to give me like a free pass, quote unquote free pass, on like for like all like buses and trains, right?
Mm-hmm.
But a bunch of students started complaining, saying that obviously we can't, travel there because we're going to stay at home. So why even charges that? And the dean of Berkeley herself says we can't do anything about it, saying that we have to lose around like $500 on nothing, literally into an endless void. We're throwing just $500 into
2 letters for you, BS.
Exactly, bro.
Like, that reminds me of the amount of students that, if you remember when the pandemic first hit, that were being charged for stuff like the gym and like the equipments and pools and like other things, and it was just like, we're not there to use them. Why are we still being charged for it?
Exactly.
Like, I saw something like it was like a student union thing charged or like fee. I was like, I'm never even a part of this thing. Why am I being charged? Like, the thankful thing is like they provide health insurance, and I'm able to thankfully, decline that and get that money back,
Oh, yeah. Same.
But, like, it's like, what is the point of all these different charges? Like, that just shows they're trying to get money whenever they can. Or, like, some of the schools that were trying, you remember, like, before that, like, force you to live on campus?
Yeah.
It's like, why, if the student can't afford it, why are they going to be forced to still try and do that? Why? Because they're trying to get you with loans, they're trying to get you in debt and try and get your money, especially because for the most part no one has the money up front to fully pay off that loan, so they're just going to hit you over time, and of course it's going to continue to build up over time.
Exactly. Speaking of which, is UCLA going to like start like enforcing in-person classes, or this here the remote learning?
I honestly don't know yet. I think I saw an email where they were talking about what's potentially going to go down for fall quarter, but like, I don't know what they're fully going to do. They're so confusing.
Right.
But real quick, because we have about 10 minutes, and it's quite funny that I bring up time, because this is the main thing I want to talk about when it comes to school. Has school just completely altered your outlook on time?
Yes.
Because here's my biggest gripe with school, that like, it just seems like, I'm gonna be honest, no one seems to understand whenever I talk about it. School has completely altered my outlook on time, in the sense that I can't even do anything anymore without thinking that it's wasting my time. Like,
true.
If I'm not doing some type of homework or something, or studying for a class, it's almost like I'm wasting my time. And like, it's like it basically implemented this how would you say, like this paranoia in me. Like,
right.
And like people, I know like some people say, well, we see you like all day, like laying on your phone or something like that, right?
Right.
The only reason I'm doing that is because for some reason that's the only thing I feel I can do. Even though I know I'm wasting time, it's the only thing I feel I can do. I can't even sit down for like an hour anymore for the most part and just play because I'm fearing that like I'm wasting my time. I can't sit down and work on an artwork. I can't sit down and watch like a YouTube video or an anime episode, you know. I can't even sit and read my Bible. I can't sit here and like get simply ready, you know, in the morning. It's made me think that like if I'm not doing something for school, I'm wasting my time, and that I just can't simply sit down and enjoy any of my time. So instead of feeling fulfilled at the end of the day, I go to sleep just thinking, man, I'm wasting my time, my limited amount of time that I have on this planet, because I'm still stuck in fear that if I'm not doing my schoolwork, if I'm not doing something that involves schoolwork, I can't sit and enjoy anything else in my life. And then this causes an even bigger issue, because then when I am working on that stuff, I don't want to end up doing it because I have no interest in it. Like, that's my other biggest gripe with school, is that there's nothing of interest to me. This entire year, I've been trying to find something, anything that maybe I can major and find a career in, and I've yet to find any major, any career that I would be interested in. And so it's like, what am I going to do from here? Am I going to continue wasting my time in school, trying to hopefully find something, and eventually, you know, just settle down with something that I don't want to do, continue for 4 more years? Because it's not like I didn't just do 12 years of learning and doing a bunch of stuff I didn't want to do or had no interest in.
Right.
It's like, we talked about it in that one episode. We were saying, you know, the school system just needs a huge revitalization, because you're stuck here just like Oscar had said, you know, you're essentially like creating a bit of like torture for a lot of these people who just, you're forcing them to do things that aren't within their skill set or interest set, you know?
Right.
But please, by all means, if you have anything to say, go right ahead. That's my piece on the whole time and other school issue things.
Yeah, okay. So, regarding what you said about wasting time, dude, every day it's been feeling like that. I feel like I could be doing something way, like, I'll be honest with you, I can't remember a lot of the things I've learned last semester, and I completely forgot about it. Except for the calculus stuff, because I'm pretty sure I've taken the calculus, like, you know, well enough, and I passed the class. But, like, for my class for astronomy, my class for, like, data science, what was the class I took? My class for, I took a physics class. I completely forgot everything. And I'm just thinking there, did I just really waste all that time for nothing?
Yeah, that's how I felt about almost like the past 7 years.
Exactly. All the things we learned in high school, I don't remember. Only because it hasn't been important to me. Like, how do you call it? Like history, for example. I don't remember anything from when we took AP history with Mr. Soto back in high school. And do you remember anything?
I do, but here's the thing. That's more so because when I took that class, I didn't worry about the grade. I worried about just having fun and learning the class, which is why so many people thought it was weird when I said I enjoyed the class, because I didn't go into it thinking, oh, I want the grade, oh, I want the AP credit. Because I knew Mr. Soto, I was like, I want to go in and just enjoy his class and just learn whatever I have. And what happened? That was probably the most fun I ever had in a class. Versus all the other classes, it was like, it was a thing of, I have no interest in this. I'm only doing it for a grade and to go through all of this because, like, I'm being forced to. I don't care about whatever's going on. I really could go without a lot of this stuff. It's pointless to me, but I'm only here because I'm forced to.
True.
And that's technically how I feel about college right now. I was like, I'm only here because I'm forced to at this point.
Yeah, like, I don't want to disappoint my parents dropping out, you know?
That and it's like, what are we gonna do if we don't go to college? Sure, there's like, you can find like, you know, minimum wage job, but like that's not gonna be enough.
True.
Especially because if you're forced to move out, that's not enough to sustain your own life. As we said, you know, so many people in this country aren't living on a sustainable wage. It's like,
Exactly.
where are we supposed to go from here? Like me, I mean, I wouldn't like really mind working somewhere because like I have talked with you a lot. I wouldn't mind jobs like that just because they give me the freedom of time, you know.
Right.
But it's a thing of long-term stability, you know. Am I gonna be insured that I always have a job or I always have money, you know?
Right.
And of course, that's not guaranteed unless you go to. It's not even guaranteed if you go to a university. It's only guaranteed if you go into like the high-paying jobs and high-paying careers. And guess what? Like we said in that one episode, not everyone can go into those careers because not everyone has those skill sets and intelligence available to them.
True.
It isn't a thing of just learning this stuff. There's sometimes you need to be blessed with the skill set and just the like intelligence to go into that stuff.
Right.
I can't become an engineer because I don't have those type of math skills or set. I can't go become a doctor because I don't have those skill sets or nothing, you know?
Yeah.
And it's something that people just don't seem to understand. And so it's like we're forced into this because, like you said, we're forced into this because I know specifically for me and you, from like a young age, we just decided that the thing we wanted most was at least to just help out our parents. And we got this far, so it's like feeling like any time of judgment where you're just like, I don't want to do this anymore, I want to drop out. The first thing that comes to our mind is, well, what about our parents? And so it's like we're essentially forced into this because that's the main thing we want to do.
You got a point, man.
But so, I don't know, man. That's just my thoughts.
Yeah, man. I mean, I completely feel the same way. I just think at this point from now on, we just have to like push forward or try to make a drastic change in order to fulfill what we really want to do. You know what I'm saying? You know, college is not for everyone, of course. But if you're not going to follow the college route, you have to have a plan.
Yeah.
Plan B, you know, to continue on.
Yeah.
To support yourself and support those around you. And all that stuff.
That's the biggest thing. It's just, if you have to make that drastic decision, then you better hope you have a plan.
Yeah. But then again, you know, not everyone has an immediate plan B for the future ongoing, like, you know, the next 10 years or so.
That, and sometimes you just simply can't plan ahead.
Yeah.
The movie Parasite said it best. You know, you can plan ahead all you want, but there's no guarantee that that things will go according to your plan. And if you live your life by trying to plan in the future, you're just going to be disappointed when things don't go that way.
True.
But so with a minute left, I guess we'll close out here. This has been us essentially shoot styling on the school system, but I've been your host, Jack, joined by my co-host,
Dom.
I want to thank you all for joining us for another episode of the Rule 34 podcast. As always, the door is open for anyone to come on here and discuss with us anything, or even, you know, have a friendly debate with us over some of our opinions that we've said on this. But anyways, as always, if it exists, remember, if it exists, we have an opinion on it. We thank you all for joining, and we'll see you in the next episode.